Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a 7-disc set that still exists that I feel I must talk about. I speak of the complete EMI recordings, which are now on Warner, of Youri Egorov, the Russian pianist. He had a very brief life. He was only 33 when he died. I believe it was around 1988. He died of AIDS. He was one of the earliest classical music victims of the AIDS epidemic, and he was a tremendously gifted pianist with real character and personality. He was almost like a modern-day Walter Gieseking. He was a colorist, a real keyboard colorist, did not preclude energy or rhythm or any of those things, but he had a beautiful, beautiful tone, and that made him a fabulous Debussy pianist. And it's really sad. I see, there's so much Debussy being recorded all the time, but I see so many people talking about, the great Debussy recordings and leaving out Egorov, which I think is a crime. When he was alive, these were reference recordings in that music. And I'm just going to tell you what everything is here, and we'll just go through it. And you can decide for yourself if this interests you, but you really should know his work. He was such a terrifically sensitive artist and just a brilliant player. And he recorded, fortunately, music that was really near and dear to his heart. I mean, these 7 discs are all very, very good. I mean, everyone has their favorite performances. And I remember when they initially came out, some people thought that some of the performances were just a mite soft-edged or blurry or whatever, but that was his sonority. It was his sound, and that was his character. And it really shines through these performances. And they were well recorded. Some of them were early EMI digitals, but they sound okay. I mean, he was captured, fortunately, in time to get some of his most powerful performances on disc before the end came. So let's begin. We have Debussy Preludes. The Debussy stuff is amazing. Debussy Preludes and Image Book 1, and the Chopin F minor Fantasy, which is gorgeous, and the first Ballade, which is gorgeous and which, could be played in a more muscular way at the climaxes, but it's gorgeous. And then we have CD 2, which is Debussy Preludes Book 2, and the Estampe. Oh my God, Pagode. Pagodas. It's to die for in this performance. Oh my God, it's wonderful. All right, then we have compact disc 3, where we get Schumann's Carnival. I think this is one of the best versions of Carnival out there. I haven't really talked about Carnival in these videos yet, and I have to do it. I haven't because it's one of those works that so many people have done, and I have to get my brain around it in order to do anything sensible with it. It's also not a piece I particularly love. I admire it and respect it, and I know it's a work of genius and a masterpiece and all that, but it's not one of my favorite piano works unless the performance is really special. And this, I think, is really special. It is so coherent and interesting and characterful. Oh, it's just marvelous, but without being perverse. Egorov was never really demented. He had personality in abundance, but it wasn't malevolent personality, musically speaking. So you get that, and you get the Schumann Toccata and the Arabesque, and you get the Bunte Blätter, and you get on disc 4 Kreisleriana, and a couple novelettes, numbers 1 and 8, and you get Papillon, one of the great recordings of Papillon. It's fabulous. It's just fabulous stuff. Schumann was one of his big composers, and he played it wonderfully. So disc 5, we've got Chopin, lots of Chopin. You've got the Nocturne in F sharp, opus 15, number 2, the Nocturne in D flat, opus 27, number 2, the Nocturne in E minor, opus posthumous, opus 72, number 1, and the second Scherzo, the one in B flat minor. He was also a lovely Chopin pianist, wonderful Chopin pianist. As I said, some people prefer, for example, in the Scherzo, it's more, fireworks and muscularity. But there's no questioning his taste and his scrupulous sense of balance and phrasing and color. And it's lovely. And then he did this. I remember when this came out too. Boy, the Emperor Concerto, Beethoven's Emperor Concerto with Wolfgang Savalis. And it's fun to hear him do the Emperor Concerto, because you would think that a guy who specializes in Debussy wouldn't be so great in the Emperor Concerto, but it's really good. First of all, Savalis is a nice, sturdy German-style accompanist, but Egorov really holds his own. There's plenty of warmth and sort of coloristic sensitivity, even in the passage work, but the performance has energy, and it's heroic, and it's on an ample scale. It's a beautiful Emperor Concerto. Then we've got a couple Mozart concertos, again with Savalis, numbers 20 and 17. The prize, I think, is number 17. I adore number 17. It's one of my favorite Mozart piano concertos, and this performance is just delicious, especially the finale, the theme and variations, do 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 boom boo do 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 da 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 da, with the woodwinds juggling in there. It's wonderful. It's so much fun, and this performance is just perky and delicious. It's lovely. And then disc 7, you've got the Bach Chromatic Fantasy and Fugue. Now there's something interesting. You wouldn't think a colorist of Egorov's type could handle polyphony of Bach's type, but remember, it's chromatic. Chromatic means colorful. So you get the counterpoint and you get lots of color. It's wonderful. And the Mozart Fantasy in C minor, which is absolutely beautiful. A little bit maybe on the slow side, but absolutely lovely. And then some more Chopin. Again, the Fantasy in F minor and 2 etudes. Etude in what's one? G flat, opus 10, number 5, and in E major, opus 10, number 3. And, opus 10, number 3. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, my goodness. That's it. That's all you get. 7 discs of Youri Egorov, who was taken from us far too soon. Of course, there's lots of live stuff and other things that are available, but I don't believe in overkill. It's always a good thing to hear a few things and wind up wanting more than hearing a lot of not as good things, or sort of spur of the moment, not live things, or things with various forms of defects, and think, oh well, he wasn't all that great, or maybe this isn't so important. Just start with this. 7 wonderful discs by a tremendous pianist whose life ended far, far too soon. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.